Hey guys, I'm Jason with Long Bottom Farm, and today we're gonna do pig chores. So come along. All right. This is our pole barn where we house our feed, and notice on the ground we have a little red bowl here. This is where we actually feed our cats, who in turn keep rodents from getting into our feed. We're not really at a scale yet for tons of feed at a time. We generally do about 10 pigs at a time, and we generally do about 4 batches a year, so 40 pigs a year. So we still go with the bags. They're easier to manage. I could definitely see the allure of doing tons and putting them in our big bulk feeders. We're also at a point right now where we've only got 6 pigs right now, and they're small, so they're just not eating a lot. So if I had a lot of feed around, that would just be going to waste. So the bags just help us control feed costs. We'll probably make up in that for all the labor of hauling the bags, but good exercise. So let's get some bags loaded up and we'll go feed the pigs. So as you guys can see here behind me, this is their shelter. This is just made out of a couple horse corral panels, 3 panels, and then 3 cattle panels. They're bent over, and then just a tarp that fits, and that's pretty much it. This just gives them some protection out of the rain, sun, gives them shade. If you look back behind here, this is all woods and this is all theirs. They get to go in that area. Right now we have them in our training area. It's about 1/8 of an acre, and this has got an electric fence that runs around it. And what we use this for when we first get pigs on the farm, we'll put them in here. That way they just get trained to the electric fence, and then once they're good and trained, we open up this gate right here, and that lets them go down into the woods. So here's a look where we'll be releasing them to in probably about the next 2 to 3 weeks. You can see the fence line that runs up through there, and then they essentially get all this woods here. I mean, it's dense. So it's a hillside, and then it wraps all the way around the backside. Like I said, it's about 1.5 acres, and they get free range of it. So this pasture has a ton of forage. One thing I want to show is we're standing literally under black walnut trees. So this is what provides their shade. Also drops a ton of black walnuts that they'll eat, and gives a great flavor profile for the meat. Also in the woods they're at over here, there's a ton of oaks in here, and those drop acorns. One of the things about raising pigs that we found in the woods versus raising them on pasture is that they just get a whole lot more natural forage from the trees. They'll eat grass, they'll eat roots and stuff, but these trees drop so many nuts and such that it really just adds definitely to what we do here. And by having all this extra forage, they just get that. I think it really improves the quality of the meat. They will eat a good bit of it, and then we give them a non-GMO feed. That's what you saw us filling earlier in the feed troughs. So they kind of have either or. They pick, and pretty much any pigs you have to have some supplemental feed. This is the best way that we found to do it. and it makes for an exceptional pork meat. So if you can find non-GMO, if you can find organic, that would be the way to go. But our organic feed here is literally twice the cost per bag. So we pay about $19 a bag for a non-GMO feed, a 50-pound bag. The organic is about $38 a bag. And they eat a lot of feed over the course of 6 months and get them to the time. And unfortunately, just price-wise, we would have to charge so much for the pig that people wouldn't want to buy it, and it prices us out of that basically. So we try to do everything as natural as we can, but some things just have limits, and most farms run into this. And then we need to give this paddock a rest at times. So what we'll do is right behind me is another paddock, and it's more pasture, but it has some trees for shade. And so the next batch we will do over there, and then give this about 3 to 4 months rest. And that's kind of how we rotate. We started out moving fences and doing all that, and it just became too laborious, trying to keep the grass off the fence. And we even had one episode where pigs got tangled in the fence, and luckily we were down there, but still it took some time. And just, yeah, I have a love-hate relationship with fencing. We still use it for our chickens, but for the pigs, we just set up some permanent areas. So these are the feeders that we use. Honestly, I don't even know the name. We found them on Craigslist. Basically open up the top and put your feed in. And this one's just sitting here. It's not actually in use right now. But then they open up the flaps with their nose and get the feed out. We have a bigger version of it here, and that's what you'll see us filling there. I don't have flaps on this, but honestly, it hasn't been a problem. Pigs eat it out enough to where nothing really sets. And also when it rains, it flows down, and there's little channels that the rain actually flows. So we really haven't had any issues. The main thing with these feeders, if you get one for yourself, is to make sure just that the top does not let any water in. If water gets in, then it starts to cake, and then it won't drain out the bottom like it's supposed to. So that's the main thing, is keeping that inside dry. But otherwise, these have worked great. You can see our fly trap here. We did a video on that. You can see up in the top right corner, check it out. We use this fly paper for our cattle as well as our pigs, and they do a good job. Just helps take some of the pressure off of them. We've had a ton of rain here this past week, so this area has gotten a little more messed up than it usually is, but they like it too. They root around in it. This is probably an extra 3 feet in elevation from just hay that we've done over the years. They'll till it up, it composts on the bottom. It's actually really good soil. They tend to go to the bathroom back here. One thing about pigs is that if they have a place to go, they won't go where they lay. So they'll actually move away from their structure and go to the bathroom. They're actually very tidy. They like to wallow in the mud, but one, that gives them sun protection. 2, it coats their skin so that mosquitoes, flies, and stuff can't bite them. So it actually serves their purpose. You can see we got a few different sizes in here. We got a couple weeks ago, and then we got these little guys about 2 weeks ago, and then we'll have about another 10 coming here shortly. We tend to put them all in together, and we've never had any problems. As long as they've got food, room, plenty of space, and food. That's kind of the way to their heart. You give a pig food, and they're happy as can be. This is the water that we use. I can't think of the name now, but we got it from QC Supply. You can find these everywhere though. They hold 85 gallons and they just drain out. And you can see this one's about half full now, so it's gonna need filling soon. I tend to try to let them run close to empty. And then once it gets empty, we will actually dump it out, meaning tip it on its side and then take a hose in there real good. The pigs obviously root around a ton. So mud and stuff is all over their nose every time they drink. That ends up in the water. So you pretty much need to clean these every time. We also have nipples, but I found that we just wasted a lot of water with those, and we really couldn't make them work well for this setup. We found this works really well. Once I fill it, it's kind of set and forget for a week or a week and a half. Just depending on how many pigs, how big they are. But yeah, keep it full and don't let it run completely empty. If it gets too empty, they'll start rooting up under it, and then they move it, and then you have problems. So we usually try to keep enough water in there that it keeps it heavy. But again, you do need to clean them between each feed. They have some nice little drain plugs in the bottom that allow water just to drain out from here without tipping if you want to do that. Again, we found tipping just gets most of the food and the mud and everything out, so we tend to do that. They work great. So here's a look down into the water from the top. As you can see, there is a black thing right there. That's a plug if you wanted to drain the main tank here. This is to the main chamber that holds all the water, so it's an easy way to do that. Right beside that, there's a little white thing right there. It's a little hard to see with the water going, but there's a white thing. That's a little filter that goes over top of the float. And that's all this is, essentially a float. When it gets to a certain height, it'll stop the water from draining. And as you can see here, the water stops about right there. All right, guys, so that's pig chores on the farm. Again, it's not too much. There's days where you come in here and you have to fill water, you have to fill the feeder, you have to put down hay. You may have to fix some of the fencing. They'll tend to push dirt up onto the electric fencing sometimes. But then there's days we come and literally just look over, everybody looks good, feeder's full, water's full, and there are no chores to do. So, you know, you can set this up as automated as you want. It just depends on how much money you want to spend. Again, most of the stuff we've gotten secondhand, other than the water, we got off QC Supply, and I'll put a link down to that below. But yeah, pigs are really pretty simple. They're kind of self-sufficient, and other than lifting the 50-pound bags and feed, and then on loading day, but our loading day literally takes about 3 seconds. So when we get to that point, I'll show you a video on that. Very stress-free, easy to load way to do it with pigs. Like I say, we'll show you that when the day comes. All right, thanks for watching. Obviously, leave us some comments below. If you're doing a farm, share with us how you're doing it. You know, a lot of this stuff I've learned from watching other YouTube videos, visiting other farms, and then trial and error. What works for one farm may not work for yours for whatever context or another. So I found just looking at a lot of farms and looking at a lot of videos and taking little bits and pieces from here and there and making it work in your setup. That's the way to do it. All right, so leave us comments below. Again, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one. All right, bye.